Screen. Oh, she remembered. Okay. I'm hoping that you can see a screen that says has my logo and I take the lead. Tell
Yep.
me you do.
Yes, we do.
Welcome. Yep.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So I'm very honored to be with all of you here today. And as I stated just a few moments ago, um, over the last several years, the way I've worked has changed because of what I just told you about how I feel about our spaces. I mean, in everywhere we go, right? It informs you of how you're supposed to think, feel, be, whatever. And if you create intentionality in your own spaces, then you have control over that about how you're going to show up. And that deeply impacts you when you have a business, right?
Mhm.
So I can see some of you, I can't see all of you, but if you would, I'm assuming people here, many of you probably have a home office. If you want to raise your hand, if you've got a home office, okay. Um, if you do, some of you have a dedicated workspace out in a where you work. If you want to raise your hand on that, okay, great. And have you noticed how your environment impacts you, whether it's at home um, or in your workspace, your outside workspace? Yeah. Good, good. All right. Well, and this is going to be perfect because this is going to be exactly for you. So, like I mentioned, a lot of people don't necessarily realize or like frontal cortex think about how much their environment does impact them and whether it's draining them, energizing them, how it's impacting your nervous system. And that also impacts how you show up in terms of, are you focused? Do you feel like a leader? Are you confident? Are you productive? So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this class is for you if you are struggling with focus and productivity and mental clarity, if you feel overloaded or distracted, if you feel like you've grown professionally, but your current workspace, whether it's in your home or your outside, your brick and mortar office somewhere else, is no longer matching where you're headed. Um, and if you know that, but you're not necessarily sure of how to make those changes or what to even do, it could be quite overwhelming. So, if you're ready, you want to feel more focused and energized. You want to try to intentionally create and design a workspace that supports your business and is in alignment with your goals and growth. And of course, you want to feel confident and show up fully, not only for yourself and your own goals, but for the goals and results that you want to create for your clients. So today we are going to discuss three powerful shifts to understand your environment and well-being, plus three ways that you can instantly improve your workspace. Okay. And I think honestly, once you understand these concepts, you'll probably never look at your workspace again. It's kind of like seeing how the sausage is made, but sometimes that's good because then you can, like I said, fully and intentionally create a space that's really going to resonate and work for you. So, why I do what I do. Obviously, I've already introduced myself, but I have been an interior design specialist in the Portland metro area, the Pacific Northwest, for 30 years. I moved here April Fool's Day, 1997, from the Midwest. I'm from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, just outside of Chicago. Went to Purdue University and actually went for radio and television broadcasting. And then when I moved out here and had been in media for so many years in my life, and a lot of other things too, I really wanted to do something way more creative. And so I did. I went back to school and and technically became an interior decorator. There is a difference between an interior designer and an interior decorator. And I had no interest in going back into a 4 year college degree situation. Fire codes and moving walls were not something I wanted to do. I really wanted to just focus on existing spaces and making those spaces work better. So I went to a school here in the Portland metro area and right out of the gate started working and loved it. And like I was explaining to you before, as I've grown in my business, I've realized that what sets me apart or how I feel differently about it is that I don't design spaces based on what I like. I see myself as a facilitator, and you are the decorator. It's my job to get clarity on who you are and what your vision is, and then make that a reality. Um, and it's also about, like I said, how your space not only looks, but how it feels to you and how it impacts you and how you show up in your life and your business. So, something I wanted to share about that in terms of coming to where I'm at now with my business is I shared a room with my sister growing up. We grew up in a pretty small farm community, like I said, in Northwest Indiana, just outside of Chicago. And our room was always a mess. And it wasn't my mess, it was her mess. And my mom would get so angry and be like, "You girls go up there and clean that room." And I'm like, "It's not me, it's not me." And then when I moved to Purdue and my mom came to visit, she was like, "Oh, your room is so cute and it's so picked up and clean." And I'm like, "Yeah, it wasn't me making those messes. It was my sister." But looking back, I realized in that room on my side, I like arranged my pillows just so and my accessories on my desktop and all that. I didn't know back then what I was really doing, but I realized for me, what it was doing is it was helping me to feel like that was my little space in the world and that I had impact. I was living in someone else's house, obviously, but I could impact my own space, right? And so as I work with clients over the years, I noticed something fascinating with them too, which was whenever I'd work with them, of course, it was about let's get new furniture and colors and better lighting and all those things. Let's make my house feel good. But at the same time, they were also, after we'd got that done, they started reaching out to me about their home offices as well, which home offices weren't a big deal until somewhere in the 90s. They started building homes that actually featured home offices. And then people started working in them more, not just to do bills and things, but to actually work. And so they started asking me to do those. And they were telling me how those rooms were making them feel. And as I started working through all this, it really made me understand that what I said before, which is how deeply impacted we are and by our home, our living environments and our work environments. And then it all connected for me between what I was doing when I was a child and how I decided to show up in my business. So, um, I helped people to intentionally create home and work environments that supported their clarity, their peace, their productivity, their emotional safety, um, their motivation, helping them recharge, feel grounded. Everything happens in your home, all of your memories and things. And in your office, what happens there? You have successes, you have failures, right? You have both. You have any number of different things can happen in your office, and all of that creates an energy, right? And you want to try to keep it positive and flowing in there. So that's part of this process too, and getting you set up like that. Okay, so with all of that, let's get to the first principle of what we're going to talk about today, which is what is the single most important thing that makes a difference in how you show up? Obviously, your environment. right? Um, that makes sense to everybody, right? I know I'm kind of driving that home, but not if you're in agreement, if you can feel that or understand that. Okay. Um, Most people massively underestimate the impact that their environment has on them. Did you know that your environment is 95% responsible for how you show up and dictates who you are? It dictates how you think, how you feel, how you work, how you communicate with your clients, how you communicate with yourself, how confident you feel, and how other people perceive you. And I know that seems very shallow, but we all know that within seconds, milliseconds, when we walk into a room or when we're around other people, we are constantly making judgments and assessments of if we're safe, if we're not safe, and how we're going to act or speak or do in whatever environment where we are, whether we're aware of it or not. So again, if you have the ability to intentionally impact that to your greatest good, you'd want to do that. So let me show you some examples here. What I have here on the screen, obviously, are two incredibly different environments. Also, you're welcome to laugh if you want. You're not going to interrupt me. Uh, I actually enjoy hearing people laugh and talk while we're doing this. So, on the left here, you see a church. On the right here, you see people celebrating and having a drink, right? Having a beer in a bar. So obviously, you're going to show up very differently in both of those environments,
Mhm.
right? One, you're going to be very pious and quiet and respectful, hopefully. And then in the other, you're going to be having a good time with friends. You're going to be laughing. You're going to be loud. Probably the environment's loud, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Now, here, same thing. How would you be in these two environments? Well, the left-hand side obviously is maybe a very formal dinner, might be a
Mhm.
wedding, it could be anything. It could be some sort of celebration. Chances are good you're either wearing a your best dress or a suit and heels and cufflinks and the whole shebang. You're going to be on your best behavior again, hopefully. Sometimes weddings get pretty wild.
They can be
Um,
stiff.
what?
They can be stiff.
Exactly,
You get it
exactly.
depends on what table you're at too.
It
Yeah, isn't that
absolutely
the truth?
does.
I've been asked to go sit down. This is a
I love,
solemn occasion. We're not going to have any laughter or fun here.
I love that. Exactly. Yeah, if it's at a funeral, I mean, pick your moment. But yeah, you're going to act very differently and dress very differently in both of
Yeah.
these environments. Oops. I don't know why that's on. Sorry about that, y'all. I thought I had that turned off. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
ideally you aren't going to wear the jeans with the holes in them at the wedding or whatever it
No,
is.
that's a funeral wear, definitely.
Right, exactly, exactly. Hopefully, you wouldn't show again. People, they do who they're going to be, but hopefully, in those two environments, you would dress and act appropriately or
Yeah.
socially acceptable, I guess I should say. All right. So, here we go. How your space feels obviously dictates how you act, right? So, on the left here, if your environment is chaotic, and there's stuff everywhere, when you show up Monday morning or at any time of week and that's hitting you right away, your brain goes into, oh, I've got so much to do, or
Yeah.
oh, I got to clean this up before I even start working, or ugh, I don't even want to do this today. Like that's your
Mhm.
initial impact, right? Or you're on the phone with people and you're like, I can't find anything or whatever. It's disruptive. Whereas the space on the right might not be your style, and I didn't design any of these spaces. These are just for examples. On the right hand side, it's very serene feeling, calming. Everything feels organized, but not like clinical-ish. I mean, it feels like you could sit down and work and be calm and focused, right? Which brings us to our second principle. Showing up as your best self magnetizes possibilities to you. When you feel good, when you feel your best, obviously you're going to perform differently. Your environment supports you to think more clearly. You can make decisions faster. You can communicate more confidently to your clients. You can focus. You become more productive. And people can feel your presence differently. You stand a little taller, you sit a little taller, it impacts you. Like, they always say dress for success. It's kind of the same way. I have some friends that literally say, I might be sitting at home all day, but when I get up and get ready for work, I literally dress like I could go out to my office, like to an office job out in the world,
Mhm.
because it impacts how I feel about myself, as opposed to just sitting in my pajamas and working. Now, granted, you can absolutely certainly do that. There are days, several days during the week where I'm out of my pajamas, but I mean, and I'm not judging anybody that does that. You just have to decide the energy that you want to sustain on that day and know yourself well enough to know what what is going to impact me around me to get done what I want and need to get done today. And if you're like, what I want and need to get done today is to binge watch something on Netflix instead of working and relax, then do that. I'm just saying that when you decide that you want to show up and magnetize things and the possibilities towards you, you always have that ability by surrounding your body in space with the things that are going to do that for you. And obviously this goes well beyond your working environment, but you get the idea. Okay. So obviously your workspace is going to impact like all the things we said. Your creativity, your energy levels, your ability to stay focused, your stress, and your capacity to lead effectively, right? You don't want your environments to drain your nervous system because you'll be fighting an uphill battle all day long. And I know that every single one of you sitting here, your businesses are important to you. And I'm also not pointing this to you as a failing on your part if your environment isn't currently perfect. It isn't about that. It isn't about that at all. It's literally about choosing yourself when you're ready to show up for yourself, and have that reflected back to you in a way that nurtures you. And that's what I'm here to support. All right. So, next, this one's a little hard for me. So, sometimes the space no longer supports who you are now and who you're becoming.
Mhm.
So, this is my house that I purchased with my ex-husband, our very first house together, well, our only house together. And I had a very shortly after my divorce. It was 2018, was my divorce. The fall of 2019, I discovered a leak in my crawl space that completely devastated my entire house. My entire house was covered in, like, in the walls, in the ceiling, in the everything was covered with mold inside because
Mhm.
of this leak. And I had to take it down to the studs.
Wow.
And I did, and it was right. When we got it uh with the insurance company and everything. It's a big long story that I'm not going to get into, but right when we were shutting down for COVID, they had literally, like a couple of days prior, just had finished getting everything out of my house, and literally I had to touch every single item in my house and have it cleaned or thrown away.
Mhm.
So I
Oh,
lost about 90% of everything I owned, and had to clean the rest. And then COVID hit. And I was displaced all during COVID. It took me 3 years to get through this whole process.
Wow.
wow.
And after I moved back in and had it all done, um, and again, that's a big long story there too. But after I had got back in there the second time because they screwed some things up, I screwed things up, meaning they didn't get all the mold. So that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Wow.
Oh,
I was like, I can't. I had remodeled it in the way everything I wanted. Everything I wanted in it. I got it done. I got it because it was very dated from before. Like, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, but also I was like, all right, I'm going to make this be my house. I'm got divorced. I'm going to reset it to be exactly what I need for myself moving forward. Like there was a
Mhm.
lot of symbolism and me literally doing my own design process on myself, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. And after I did it, it felt like putting lipstick on a pig. I was like, I can't stay here. I have to release this. I have to let this go.
Mhm.
And so I did. Um, it was very life-changing. Um, but my nervous system couldn't relax there uh, because it was a story that was over and I needed to shift it and move forward onto something
Mhm.
else. And I did. And this is also something that I help other people with as they're processing through their own spaces. So you have to recognize if a space is quietly keeping you stuck or distracted or overwhelmed or in the past and exhausted, or if you want to intentionally move forward and create something different for yourself. Which leads me to the third principle, which is intentionally creating an environment that pulls you forward. The biggest mistake that people make is letting their workspaces happen to them instead of creating them. Okay. So, again, like we were talking about your nervous system, all of these things on the screen are going to impact you and drain your energy. Overcrowded rooms, lack of organization, storage overload, especially if you have old things. So, obviously, visual clutter and chaos is a big one. Everybody
Mhm.
knows that. Poor lighting. A lot of people, most people do not have enough lighting in their spaces, and we'll get into that later. Lack of storage in workspace. My favorite is uncomfortable, inefficient, or makeshift office furniture. Because
Oh.
in your brain, you're thinking, nobody sees it but me. I'm just going to shut the door. Or I'm just going to, like it's a default. It's just a default. You don't, and that impacts you. Um, Undedicated or temporary spaces, which I'll talk to you more about in a little bit. And then outdated professional or personal items, which is kind of what I was touching on before, in terms of if you have things in your office that are from other jobs that didn't work out, or things that make you feel melancholy or no longer speak to your goals and what you're moving towards, those hold an energy that you need to release.
Mhm.
Even if they're good ones, if you feel like it's making you live in the glory days and you don't feel that anymore, uh, oh God, I used to be such a great salesperson. I remember when I won that award, but now, that gives you feelings that you don't that aren't serving you anymore. Like I said,
Mhm.
we'll talk more about that. So imagine what you could shift in your business or career if your workspace actively supported your highest level of performance.
Mhm.
Okay. This is gonna be a very quick thing. Normally, I do a deep visualization with my clients to help them focus on their office and what they want and don't want. I usually take them into a meditation, but what I'd like to do is for you all to just for a moment, I want you to close your eyes. We're going to take like 3 deep breaths, and then I'm going to ask you to think about something. So if everybody would close their eyes for just a minute and make sure your feet are flat on the ground. And I want you to take a nice big deep breath in and blow it out through your mouth. And another, breathe in and exhale. And one more time, breathe in and exhale. And I just want you in your mind's eye, as your eyes are closed, even if you're sitting in your office, it doesn't matter. I want you to imagine your space in your mind's eye as it is right now. Okay. Just walk around the room in your mind's eye and notice what you notice. What are the areas that bug you. It could be anything, the wall color, your desk chair. Okay. Just think about these are the things that are in my office right now. This is the way it's set up right now. And how do I feel about that? Okay. I want you to open your eyes and on your sheet of paper, I want you to write like three things that came into your head. You can write a word. It could be like, I felt bleh, whatever. Or I noticed this, or write a sentence, just whatever came to you, just imagining your space as it is currently. Okay, I'll give you a second to do that. All right, everybody good? All right, I want you to close your eyes again. Just take a moment to refocus on your office, but this time I want you to imagine it exactly how you'd like it to feel and be. Okay? Like notice the nuances. Like what is the wall color? Right? What does your desk look like? What does it feel like in there? What's on the walls? Maybe it's a smell. Maybe it smells like something that you want it to smell. Like really feel into all of the ways that you would want that office to feel, be, see, do, taste, smell, all of it, all of your senses. Like imagine that. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and again, write down a few words or a sentence or just something that illustrates what you would want for that environment to feel like for you, your office space, if it was exactly the way you wanted it to be. Okay, perfect. Now at the end, when we do questions and answers, I would love for you, for if you're willing, to share some of those things with me. Okay. Unless someone just has a burning desire right now to show me, which you certainly can, but we can wait too. Okay, well, you're all quiet, so I'll let that go. All right. So, with that, here are three simple but incredibly powerful shifts that you can make immediately. These small environmental changes can create major psychological and energetic shifts over time. Okay. So, for the first one, what are you looking at all day? Do not underestimate what your brain is processing visually all day long. So in this photo, this guy's looking at a whole bunch of stuff on a wall. And I'm sure there's many of you that probably have a whiteboard. Maybe you do in your office and or a bulletin board or something that's got a trillion things on it of all the things that you need to do and remember or post-it notes or whatnot, right? Piles of paper, clutter, storage, unfinished tasks, a bunch of manila, file folders on your desk, whatever, just office overflow stuff. And so your nervous system kind of takes that all in again and just doesn't know what to do with it all. I'm a very visual person, so I need to see things, but they have to be, for me, they have to be in a way that is organized for my brain to process it properly. If it's disorganized, then I shut down. And that's something to think about when you are setting up your office is, do I enjoy being able to see my things as visual reminders? Or am I the kind of person that likes everything tucked away and organized and only see the minimum amount of things. That's very important. And I want to stress that I am not a professional organizer. I'm not a declutterer. I have folks that do that work, and I'm happy to refer you to that if you need that. The focus of this today, though, is for you to recognize that those things can impact you. And my role is understanding how your brain operates and how you need to function in your environment so that, and that goes for your home environment as well, so that I can um, create solutions that are going to fit your brain. Because if they don't fit your brain, you're not going to feel right. Okay. So, and again, you might not be conscious of all of this, but your brain kind of stays in like a low grade stress and a distraction mode if you're looking at things like that all day. And of course, you want your environment, again, like we said before, where you can focus, you can be productive, you can create, you can be inspired, you want to feel professional, and you want to have forward momentum every day. Um, okay, so this was a client of mine.
Oh, wow.
And she was running a bookkeeping business. And I didn't show all the pictures because it would have been overwhelming, but she kind of had herself shoved in a corner. And behind her was a closet that had her adult brother's clothes just jammed in there. She did not have adequate storage for anything. It was dark in there. And then I don't know if you can see this, but literally she had her husband's industrial shelving unit full of his tools. In another corner, there was Christmas decorations.
Oh, wow.
She moved it out of here for this picture, but she had a full-sized like um living room like bucket chair that just didn't have a home, so it got shoved in here.
Yeah.
And I had said to her, she's like, I just can't focus in here and I'm just really struggling and I'm not sure what to do. And I'm like, well, let me explain why this
Yeah.
is all happening for you, you know? And so of course, we addressed all of those issues, but you know, psychologically, she wasn't taking her business, not that she wasn't taking her business seriously, she took her business seriously, but it was showing me that she was showing up with like sort of a lack of confidence and purpose and getting inconsistent results because the space was not dedicated to herself or her office and her
Yeah.
growth. It was sort of like this is where everything gets shoved that doesn't have a home. And I'm like, that's kind of what you're telling yourself with your business too, is like, it's fine. Everything else can live in here. I'm just doing this little business. It's not that big of a deal, and I'm like, nah, you need to put all these things somewhere else so that you can, when you walk in here, you're walking in like a boss and that this is your space and you are manifesting and creating this amazing, and she was a great bookkeeper. And the minute she did that, like she started getting more clients and
Ah,
she started showing up better. And she told me, she's like, I feel so much more energized. And when she painted this space too, she painted it a brighter color and she opened up the blinds and like all of the things that weren't happening, it completely shifted her in so many different ways, right? And surprisingly, they found spaces for all those other things,
yeah.
because I was like, you really do need to, or let them go. So the other thing I want to say about that is that you want to make your environment support your identity. Your workspace should reinforce making sure what's in your line of sight makes you happy, filled with joy, inspired, calm, and empowered, and then it feels like you. It's like you. You are represented in that space. The things that matter to you, whether they're work related or not. Like in this picture, there's a lot of great art. something, about New York and the music they like, and they obviously are into guitars and stuff like that. It's like their personality comes through in that space and probably makes them feel really good to step in there every day. And the other thing I want to talk to you about in regards to that, and some of you already do this and some of you don't, again, no judgment, but make sure that you don't forget about what's behind you, not just what you're looking at and what you're impacted by what you're seeing, right? It's what is behind you as well. For like when you're on Zoom, and people are talking, and we're on Zoom, everybody's on Zoom. I mean, or some kind of format of being, with clients on a video conferencing situation. Does it have to be perfect behind you? No, of course not. It doesn't. But also have it be something that maybe represents who you are, shows off who you are, how what's going on in your world, that kind of thing. And you can make it be as professional or not as you want. If you want it to be more personal, you can certainly do that too. Just obviously you're not going to want to reflect a bathroom or weird things behind you, but and there's so many things on the internet too that you can put things behind you like they do on Zoom, where you can create your own, unique background. Some people in here put ocean breezes and Hawaiian things and stuff,
Yeah,
which I love because that's where they're like, that's where I would like to be right now, is on a beach with a
yeah.
Mai Tai. All right.
Hi there.
So beauty inspires creativity. So again, you want to surround yourself with things that are personal. Maybe you want to hang like your kids' artwork, things that make you feel grounded, creative, focused, whatever, connected to your purpose in some way. And I showed you, two different things because this one over here is obviously a little bit more masculine feeling. This is a little bit more feminine feeling, but you get the hint. You want your environment to just remind you of your why. All right. So here is the second tip is illuminating your world. A well-lit environment can help people work more efficiently, improve mood, boost energy levels, and positively impact overall physical and emotional health. And that is the truth. Poor lighting is the killer of so many things. For me personally, and everybody's different. I have a friend who I swear to God is a vampire and they like it to be dark in their house all the time, which is fine, not judging. For myself, though, I like to have a small light on in rooms that I'm not in currently. So when I
Mhm.
walk through my home, right now, if the rooms I'm not in might have just a tiny little light on because I don't like shadowy, dark spaces that I'm currently inhabiting, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I like my bathrooms that, are dark. Again, I have like a little lamp on the countertop. It just is inviting. It makes me feel invited and welcomed. And the same thing for your spaces. You want to create levels of light, especially in an office where you're doing a lot of task work, and other things. You want to be awake and you want to be functioning. And like I said, you're task oriented. You're doing a lot of task things. You might be um, talking to clients. You might be on the phone. You might be looking at a computer. There's a million things you might be doing. And so you want to make sure that the lighting is representative of that. Let's see here. I just saw that somebody had a chat comment. So I'm trying to get back there so I
Yeah,
can.
well, let's put we can look at that later. So
Okay.
for time's sake, yeah.
Sure. Okay. All right. So poor lighting and poor mood or equals poor mood and productivity.
Yeah.
Again, this is in here is, a work from home situation, just not very well lit at all. There's no task lighting, those kinds of things. Here we have another image of the dreaded
Oh
fluorescent
yeah.
lighting, which stinks. Fluorescent lighting is so hard on your brain and your eyeballs. So if you can avoid that, definitely do. If you do have to endure that, I always recommend people get some kind of an office or a desk light lamp or something like that. Um, you want, like, again, you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel relaxed. And if you have the option to choose bulbs that are going to impact you in that way, I highly recommend it. Overly bright rooms create anxiety and they're overwhelming for a lot of people. So that's why this is a good example of this office here with multi-layered lighting, where they have
Wow.
natural lighting, overhead lighting, whoops, and task lighting. And some people even have like low lighting too to uplight plants or artwork or whatever. All that creates a mood, a vibe, an energy, whatever you want to call it. But again, it makes you feel more comfortable in a space that's well lit. And again, thinking about, like I said, what you're doing in that space. Are you having a conversation? Are you in a meeting? Or are you on a call? What's happening in that space that you need to have it lit for the topic that of what is happening in that moment? For a lot of people who don't have a window in their space, in their room that they're in, they do have faux light boxes, which are very, very
Oh, how
cool.
cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can put whatever kind of backgrounds you want in them. I had a friend who had this, like, seriously, it was like a Harry Potter under under the stairs kind of situation, and they put a little light box in there, and it completely changed the room. They were like, it's just like people that use the what are they called, you I'm sure someone will put it in the chat. But the lights that help you reflect the sun for yourself, not red, you know what I mean. Anyway, it's the same thing. It psychologically it makes you think like, oh, there's a window
Oh,
there,
in
and
the
that's
winter
outside.
time.
Huh?
Yeah, they use the lights in the winter time to
Yes. And for the
yeah, yeah,
life
yeah.
of me, I can't
Yeah.
think of the word, and I'm sure
Yeah.
someone's screaming it on the other end, going, Paula, it's this, but my poor brain. But these are really cool. So that's an option for folks that don't have that options for that.
Wow.
Um, And then the third tip is arranging for positive flow. We're going to talk a little bit about where your desk is and
Um,
how things are flowing in your space. Because often offices are small unless you have some big executive situation, and that's a different situation, but it's still going to be set up the same way. So where your desk is positioned, it is very important. Okay. Um, So here we've got a couple of scenarios of setups where in the left-hand side, this person has floated their desk and they have a great, you know, storage and reachable space behind them to put things, which they've decided to accessorize with decor. Again, that shows nicely when you're on a Zoom call or whatever. But also, they have two chairs in front of them, which creates sort of a cozy client situation, and it puts you in a command position. When someone walks into that space, they have no question who's in charge and that you are the leader of your ship, like that you are in control of your business, of what you're doing, and all of that. This is a more professional setup. Whereas something like this on the right-hand side could be your home office, right?
yeah.
And the way they have this set up is this is the door, this is a window. Now, feng shui wise, I'm not a feng shui practitioner, I'm not certified, but I do employ a lot of the techniques and tools in working with people, in as much as, this is sort of like it's not a thoroughfare, but it's like the shotgun sort of feeling. But they're utilizing their light. They didn't turn their desk towards the window with their back towards the door, which we're going to talk about in a minute. They are using this longer space so that they have access to the light, but that also they can focus and they can see who's coming in and out of their door. Okay. Very important. And that's what I want to illustrate here. In a room, these are the best places for your desk. Okay. The best places here, right? Number one, which is you like literally full on facing the door. And the reason for that again is You're in control of all of, you can see your whole room and all of your surroundings, and no one is going to come up and scare you or disturb you because you're going to be aware of who comes in the door. All right.
Hmm.
Obviously, the next placement would be probably floated in the middle of the room like this. And lastly, somewhere here along the wall where you can still see who's coming in, and put, storage and things behind you. Um, so that those are, and again, I recognize that not everybody has the most ideal setup, but if you can get away with having access to be able to seeing the door, that is a really important thing. Okay. Oh, something else I wanted to say about this. This is, again, I did not design either of these spaces, but I did have a client who moved into her office space at home, and it was a spare room, it was a really small room. And she had put her desk in the far back, literally facing the wall. And so her back was to the door and she was like all the way shoved up. And she's like, I hate it in here. It just doesn't feel right. I mean, she gave me all of the reasons of why it just wasn't working for her. And she goes, I just don't know what to do. And I said, you know what you need to do? You literally need to take your chair and pull your desk away from the wall and put it on the other side. That's it.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you kidding me? And I said, no, that's it. That's all you need to do. So she did that. And again, the minute she did that, she felt completely different. She said, oh my God, it was like night and day. She said, Paula, as soon as I did that, I felt so much different in how I was showing up for myself. She goes to the effect that I like went immediately to TJ Maxx and I bought a plant, like a big plant for the corner, and I decided what shelving I want. Like it excited her. And so
Yeah.
she then showed me, she didn't take a picture, unfortunately, but she showed me what it looked like. And she's like, she goes, and you know what? My daughter came in, her adult daughter came in and goes, Mom, you look like a girl boss in here now. Like she literally said to her, she goes, I know, I feel like it. She goes, you know what? Paula, all she told me to do was just turn my desk around, like just turn around in my desk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so again, just these little tiny tweaks. That's the other thing too with the way I design. I don't like make you start all over. I don't go, up, this all goes in the trash and we need to start fresh or make you buy a whole bunch of things. A lot of times people have exactly what they need. They're just not sure how to set it up. All right.
Yeah.
So we got that. All right. So now imagine the possibilities, y'all. Imagine what you could have, be, do in your business, your career, in your life, if you took the time to intentionally create this amazing space that would pull you towards your best self and how you show up and how you show up for yourself and your clients and your family and all of that. Imagine walking into your office every day and feeling clear and energized, knowing where you want to go, knowing what you want to create, feeling calm, feeling supported, feeling productive, being the leader that you are, having your clients like acknowledge, go, well, something seems different. Like you just seem like you're on fire. Like or you're the projects you're working on, they're like, gosh, you just show up for me so much better or different, or I don't know, just they're gonna feel it from you, right? So this is exactly what I do for my clients. I connect you to your vision because you're the designer. I'm a facilitator. And being an empath and an intuitive, I have the ability to see your aptitude, um, what you're holding back, what you're striving for, and how to get you there with this space. Like I listen to all the things, I ask you a bunch of questions, and together we create this vision. And
Hmm.
then I translate that into reality for you. I make it very visual. And then I support you from start to finish to create the space. So you literally can start leveraging and using it to move forward in your business and create the business that you've been wanting to create and step further. So I just want you to take a second and close your eyes again and visualize that space, how you want it to feel, what it looks like in your mind's eye and know that what you do in your business has value and your office needs to be an outward extension of who you truly are and allow you to shine like the bright stars that you all are. And I would be delighted to step in with you if that speaks to you. So, with that, I wanted to share with you I have a gift. So on your screen is a QR code. It
Oh,
is a workspace design clarity session. It's valued at $197, but it is free for all of you. And what that is we will talk about what is working and not working in your space, what your vision is, what you'd like to do, and then see if we're in alignment and how I might be able to help you get there. Um, so if, like I said, if you have any questions now, I would be absolutely delighted. I know we've got a few minutes here, and maybe we can go over a couple of minutes if that's okay with Becky, and answer any questions that y'all might have. I'm gonna, did everybody get the QR code?
I'm wondering, can you send it to me so because when I send out the replay, I can email it? Is that possible?
Yes, I think
Okay,
so. I
that
think
way,
so.
that way we make sure everybody, because I know there were several people that couldn't be here and they wanted the replay. So
Sure. Yeah.
okay, that'd be awesome. Wow, that's
Um,
so generous.
I'm going to stop sharing the screen. So I want to make sure too that everybody gets the QR code if they need it. I will definitely get it to Becky to send. But now I wanted to stop share so I can answer
Yeah.
any questions. Yes, fairy lights could work. I love that idea. Um, and yes, I was talking about UV lighting earlier. Thank you, Mark. That's exactly what I meant. All right. Now, does anybody have any questions for me?
I do.
Yes.
If I can. When I bought my house, it had a built-in office. Okay. And when I first moved in there, my house was immaculate. And then Becky knows this. My mother passed away. She had 11 storage rooms. I'm down to
Wow.
two, and the rest of it's in
Wow.
my house. Yeah. So it's a nightmare. And it's to the point where, how do you say this? I'm not quite sure what to do with all of it.
I mean, is
I'm
this stuff
still
you want
trying
to
to figure
keep?
that out. Huh?
Have you got it down to the two things, the things you want to keep?
Oh no.
Okay, well then the answer to that is you need to get a keep going through it yourself and only keep the things that you want because you've got it
Mhm.
down from 11 to 2. So if you still have two things or you have this stuff in your house, then all of that stuff you need to go through it and get rid of it. Keep only the stuff that you want that speaks to you and that you truly, truly want. You almost have to Marie Kondo that stuff. Or, I can put you in touch with a professional organizer to help you to go through it if you need that. But yeah, you really just need to let go of whatever is no use to you anymore.
Yeah. Well, the built-in space too is built in the office. It's really awesome. It's one of those what were they called? Closet, the organizer people. I can't they had it built into the room, so you can't change anything. It's all done in beautiful wood and everything. In fact,
Sure. Yeah.
the table folds up into the wall in part of
Okay.
it, but it's like so you can't move it around
No, I
either
hear
way.
that. I understand that, but you had said that you had things that you still needed to get rid of, so I'm
Yeah,
confused.
well, we've got everything in we had to close out one of the big storage units, and so it ended up in my garage in my house.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's
So
trying to figure out and have the time to figure out. And when people help you, nobody does organizing. They just grab whatever and just dump it. So it's finding the time and the energy with working full time to, like you said, I liked the ideas, what you said about the decorating thing behind you and in front of you, but um uh it's like I can't move the furniture. so to
No,
speak.
I mean you can't move the furniture, but you certainly can, or like you said, you can't move something that's built in. I mean,
Right.
you could take the built-ins out. I wouldn't, but you can leverage those to work for you. And if right now, if it's full of things that don't work for you, then the first step would be getting rid of those things that don't work for you.
Okay, it's
Exactly.
just finding where to put that,
And
where
over
to
time,
Well,
that should
to
change
organize
get
on
them.
rid
what's
of them,
important.
not finding where to
Yeah.
put them. Like
Get
if
rid of
they're
them.
not serving you
Yeah.
anymore, then you need to let them go because they are
Yeah.
taking up energetic space in a space that you need for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just I guess because I work with Lisa and I work together, it's finding a space to put them where we can organize them. So we can do that. And it's just been, uh, it was,
Oh, well,
you see what I'm saying?
then that would mean potentially literally hauling it to putting it all in a however boxing it up and maybe taking it to a storage unit that's what it is. That storage unit is there to store but also to sort. So you might just need to get an extra large storage unit that you have the ability to do that, or unless you have a garage space that you can do that.
Yeah, no.
That way you can like get it all organized, go through it, and then get rid of it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or if somebody else has a space that they can have you do that in. I don't know, an outbuilding or something like that. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, real quick, because it is a little after 3. So does anybody else have any more questions, quick questions that they'd like to have while
And
we
like I said,
have Paula?
I'm willing to hang back if anybody has any other thoughts or questions. So,
I got to run, but I got to say, Paula, that was awesome presentation. I liked it a lot. It
Yeah.
made a lot of sense. And as you know, for me, I'm in an RV, so that's what I work. That's where I work out of, right? So there's not a whole lot of options. But
Yes.
so I like the windows open when I'm working, so I'm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of just feeling okay or whatever. But then I get distracted easily. So then I shut everything up
Yeah.
and so I close the windows so I can focus. So I guess is there a happy medium that
I would say, um, take the time to, if you get distracted and your brain needs a break, to go outside or look outside and take that time and then re
Mhm.
jump back in. So honor
awesome?
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would say if you have ADHD medication,
Yeah. No,
uh,
I'm not denying the fact.
you have to work with who you are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm ADHD too, so I absolutely get it. So I think it's like you have to honor the space that you have and honor yourself.
Got it. Thank you so much. Got to run. Thank you. Really
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mark.
appreciate
Mark.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I would,
Yeah.
this is Jane. I'd like
Jane.
to quickly say something about, I'm also in a camper van, so I relate to what he was saying.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to go through stuff and get rid of stuff, because I inherited a ton of antiques from my family.
Hmm.
And when I decided to move into the van, I had to get rid of it all.
Mhm.
So the best thing to do is to photograph it and let it go. Sell it, whatever, but photograph it, and then you still have it, and you can, you're flipping through photographs and you see it and go, oh yeah, there's the table that dad made when he was in
Mhm.
college.
Yeah.
And so, but still, it's easier to let go that way.
Mhm.
It's
And
not
if you don't
letting
want to
go, it's
photograph
what
it,
to
just
do
let
with
it
it.
go.
Right.
Well, what do you
Get rid
mean,
of it.
Ray? Ray, you and I can have a deeper
Yeah.
conversation about this. If you have a minute, I'd like you to stand back, or because I'd like to talk to you more about that. But honestly, because I have some other solutions for you. But before that, does anybody else have any questions, thoughts, comments?
Great presentation. Makes me
Yeah.
think of light and energy. And
Mhm.
when we moved into our place almost 3 years ago, we had an idea of where the office was going to be. Completely changed just based on the layout and sun. So we're in a
Yeah.
spare bedroom
Mhm.
downstairs that has two windows, corner desk, so the light is flowing through all day long. A lot of plants for air quality. They're just things you do to that light and energy makes all the difference in the world.
And Lynn, you said something that was very important. When we move into a new house, we have no idea what, like you said, what time of year where the
Yeah.
light hits or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And once you know that, like you
Yeah.
said, we changed where we had our office because this
We
had
had
better
a
light in it.
we had a very strong idea. We'll probably do an office right here. Then we moved in and said, no, it needs to be in this room. This is it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you honored that. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, well, this is where it should go.
Right,
You put
right.
it where it felt right.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent presentation. Thank
Oh,
you,
thank
Paula.
Very
you.
good.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you.
I
Thank
was
you.
so honored to be able to do it for you all.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I hope everybody